Dear students, hope you are all doing good at home and taking the necessary precautions of COVID-19 to stay healthy. So far, in the previous lectures, you learned about the concepts of Unit 1, what is meant by distributed operating system, what is the architecture used in distributed system and various system models, and finally, what are the design issues in designing a distributed operating system? Now, in this lecture, you will be able to know the topics of Introduction to Message Passing and its features. So, message passing. It is one of the form of communication. When there are two processes or when there are two people, there should be some communication. Like that, when there are two processes, there should be a message passing mechanism in order to communicate. So, in message passing model, several processes run in parallel and they will communicate with one another by sending and receiving messages. All the processes are in or communication or may not be in the communication. So, a process is a program in execution. When we write a program, if it is going to execution mode, it is called as a process. So, our normal program, when it is compiled and it is executed, that execution stage we call it as a process. So, in a distributed system, processes executing on different computers. So, they often need to communicate with each other to achieve some common goal. See here, more than two processes are executing on different computers. Often, sometimes they may need to communicate with each other to achieve a common goal. So, in such a case, we need a message passing mechanism. So, one of the mechanism is inter-process communication. So, inter-process communication mechanisms facilitate all the required communication activities among multiple processes. The two basic methods of information sharing among two or more processes are original sharing and copy sharing. Original sharing is also called as shared data approach. So, in a shared data approach, the information to be shared is placed in a common memory area that is accessible to all the processes involved in IPC. So, here there are only two processes involved in IPC. So, these two processes can share this common memory area and it is accessible to the two processes. A shared data paradigm gives the conceptual communication of this pattern is illustrated in this figure like this. P1 is going to read some data to shared common memory and it can read data and write data to a common memory. Similarly, P2 process also reads and writes data to common memory. So, in a shared data approach, there will be a shared common memory area which is shared by all the processes involved in inter-process communication. And the next approach of IPC is message passing approach. The information to be shared is physically copied from sender's processes address space to address spaces of all the receiver processes. So here the information will be copied to all the address spaces of all the receiver process. If P1 is going to send data or information sharing with P2, P1 address space information will be passed to the address spaces of P2. So that it is done by this is done by transmitting the data to be copied in the form of messages. A block of information will be passed in the form of a messages. So the message passing paradigm is like this. P1 is copied to P2 and P2 shared information will be copied to P1. So computers in a network do not share memory. We have already seen in the first lecture itself that in a network the computers will have their own local memory. So processes in a distributed system normally communicate by exchanging messages rather than the first approach, that is shared data. Always it follows the second approach in a distributed system. The second approach is message passing approach. Therefore, the message passing is the basic IPC mechanism in a distributed system. So, a message passing system, we can think of it as a subsystem of a distributed operating system which provides a set of message based IPC protocols. So, it can help all the processes to communicate by exchanging messages and allows programs to be written by using simple communication primitives. Communication primitives are basis, or we can think of it as the first step for communication is send and receive, such as a send and receive can be think of as communication primitives. So it serves as a suitable infrastructure for building other higher level IPC systems such as RPC. We will have that topic in chapter 4. So we will continue there. And another concept of higher level IPC is distributed shared memory. So overall, for a processes, more than two processes, we need a communication. That communication is done via inter-process communication, and it has two approaches, that is shared data approach and message passing approach. In shared data approach, there will be a shared common memory area which is accessible by all the processes involved in IPC. And the second method is message passing approach method, in which the information to be shared is physically copied from sender processes address to all the receivers processes addresses, and this transmission is done via messages format. So this is the message passing approach, and in a distributed system the basic IPC mechanism is message passing approach itself. So there will be some communication primitives for message passing. They are send message comma destination and receive source comma buffer. So for a message passing model, several processes will run in parallel and communicate with one another by sending and receiving messages. We will discuss more about this in synchronization of next topic. Moving to the features of good message passing system. So for a good message passing system, it should be in a simple manner, means whenever we want to use this system, it should be simple and easy to use. All the semantics, means all the protocols or the rules which we follow in IPC should be simple and they can be easier to build distributed applications when we want them. So the matter is, it should be simple and easy to use. What it means, message passing system should be simple and easy to use. And the another feature for a good message passing system is uniform semantics. So in a distributed system, message passing system can be used for the two types of IPC, that is local communication or it might be a remote communication. In both the cases where the communicating processes will be on the same node for a local communication, on different node for a remote communication. So all these semantics should be uniform. When you are local or remote, the semantics to be followed should be same. Efficiency. Another feature is efficiency. This is somewhat a critical issue for a message passing system and it should be made efficient by reducing the number of message exchanges as far as practicable. So some optimization techniques can be adopted in order to make this feature for a good message passing system. So we can avoid the costs of establishing and terminating connections between the same pair of processes for each and every message. Means when A to B some data is exchanging from A to B, in such a case there will be an establishment of connection between A and B. The same pair of processes are communicating every time. Then we should avoid such costs of establishing and terminating connections between the same pair of processes for each and every message exchange between them. Means once it should be, the connection is established, it should not be terminated until we have to follow certain rules like timeout or there is no communication for certain time, like that we should not terminate that connection. Such avoiding of costs will improve the efficiency. And the next is minimizing the costs of maintaining the connections. See here, whenever we are not terminating the connection, we need to maintain that connection. So we have to minimize the costs of maintaining such connections also. And the another thing is piggybacking, means the acknowledgement. Acknowledgement means you all know, or whatever message is sent, it is received by the receiver and the receiver will acknowledge that he has received that message and he sends it back to the sender. It is nothing but an acknowledgement. So acknowledgement of previous messages with the next message can also help in the exchange of messages and it will improve the efficiency. Means the acknowledgement will not be sent as a separate message. The previous message's acknowledgement will be sent along with the next message during a connection between sender and receiver. So that involves several message exchanges. Piggybacking means this one means acknowledgement of previous message plus next message, so that we can avoid the separate message of acknowledgement in this case. So by following these three optimization techniques, we can improve the efficiency. And the next is reliability. Distributed systems are prone to different catastrophic events, means there might be some node crashes or communication link failures, like that. Some failures will happen in a distributed systems. So such events should not interrupt any communication that was in progress between the two processes. Means if there is any communication currently going on between two processes, like this, communication link failures or node crashes should not happen, and they should not interrupt, they should not stop the communication between the two processes. It should go on. If such a case happens, means there will be a loss or in the progress of the messages, means it results in the loss of a message. So a reliable IPC protocol will help with failure problems, and it guarantees the delivery of a message in any case of failures. So handling of lost messages usually involves acknowledgements and retransmissions. We have already discussed this. Retransmissions on the basis of timeouts. So when there is a lost message and we have not yet received any acknowledgement, we can retransmit it on the basis of timeout. Some interval we can keep as 5 seconds or 10 seconds, like that. After 10 seconds also, if you are not receiving the acknowledgement, you can retransmit it, that message. Sometimes a delay may happen in a network. In such a case, another issue we need to take care is about duplicate messages. So duplicate messages may be sent in the event of failures or because of timeouts. It can be received in, suppose we have kept an interval of 10 seconds, timeout of 10 seconds, it might reach at 11th second, but the retransmission of messages will be happened, which results in a duplicate messages. So a reliable IPC protocol is capable of detecting and handling the duplicate messages, and it usually involves generating and assigning appropriate sequence numbers to a message. Means all the data will be divided into messages and packets. That packet sequence numbers will be given with the help of this protocol. So a good message passing system must have IPC protocols to support these reliability features. And the next thing is correctness. So when there are some applications in which the correctness is compulsory, such a case like whenever we are debiting one account and crediting another account, atomicity is the one which ensures that the account is debited and the other account is credited, means both events are happened. It will ensure that every message sent to a group of receivers will be delivered to either all of them or none of them. Means we should have correctness in a message passing system. So what is the one related to this is atomicity. What is atomicity? It gives assurance, it gives guarantee that when we send any message to a group of receivers, it will be delivered to all of the receivers who have involved or none of them. Means when you debit your account, and if at all due to some issues, if your friend's account is not credited, in such a case the same amount will be again credited to your account. It will not do only one event, like you are debiting your account or crediting her account is not only possible with one event. Both events should happen or none should happen. Like that, atomicity also ensures every message sent to a group of receivers will be delivered either to all of them involved in IPC or none of them. In such a case, we can assure that there is a correctness in the message passing system. And the second thing is ordered delivery. It ensures that messages arrive at all receivers in an order acceptable to the application. Means in the previous slide only we have discussed that all the packets will have some sequence numbers. So ordered delivery will ensure that message arrive at all the receivers in the same order which is acceptable to the application. Means 321 is not acceptable for any application, it should reach in via 123 like that. So ordered delivery is another one important for making correctness features. And the next thing is survivability. So it guarantees that messages will be delivered correctly despite of partial failures of processes, machines or any communication links. Means the delivery of the messages is sure apart from the partial failures or any process failure or machine failure or any communication links failure also. Even in such a case also, this one will give you the guarantee that the messages will be delivered correctly. So this property is somewhat difficult to achieve for correctness feature, but with this feature, all these properties, we can assure the correctness in a message passing system. Ordered delivery, atomicity, survivability. And the next feature is flexibility. The IPC protocols of message passing system must be flexible. They should be simple and flexible. They should be enough flexible in order to cater the needs, in order to meet the various needs of different applications. For any application, it should be flexible and it should be easy to implement. One of the application, if one message passing system is only suitable for one application, means it is of useless. So it should be flexible enough to cater means to meet all the needs of different applications. So all the IPC primitives, send and receive primitives, should be such that the users have the flexibility to choose and specify the types and the levels of reliability and the correctness. Some people only want 50% of correctness, some may want 99.99% correctness. Like that, they should have the option to choose the level of reliability and the level of correctness. That flexibility we need to provide for a message passing mechanism. And moreover, an IPC primitives, what we call as send and receive, must also have the flexibility to permit any kind of control flow between the cooperating processes. So this one will include synchronous and asynchronous send and receive, which we will discuss in the next class. And the next feature is security. One of the important feature of message passing system is security. So it should be capable of providing a secure communication between an end to end. Between the sender and the receiver, there should be security. Means a message in transit, means whenever it is moving from A to B on different networks or on the same network, it should not be accessible by any user other than those whom it is addressed and the sender. Means, see, on a network there might be different computers running, and whenever only one node should receive the message, means that particular node only should receive that message. No other user should not get that message, or should not be able to know what that message is. So some of the steps are necessary for secure communication. Means, for authenticated user only the message should be accessible. No other should access that message. In such a case, one of the important thing is authentication of both the receiver and the sender. The receiver should also guarantee that this message is from the intended sender only. Means, whenever we got any information, for example, to increment the salary of an employee, so and so ex employee, the receiver should have guarantee that the message is coming from the actual manager only to increase the salary of X. So in such a case, the receiver should also have the guarantee that it is coming from the intended sender only. Like that, both the authentication of sender and receiver should be there in order to provide security in a message passing system. So all these authentication mechanisms will be covered in cryptography chapter, that is under unit 5. And the next property is encryption of a message before sending it over a network. Encryption of a message means the plain text data will be converted into an unintelligible format before sending, which process is called as encryption of data, and the plain text is converted into the ciphertext. That process is called as encoding. When it is at the receiver end, it decodes that ciphertext and gives you the plain text to the receiver as a normal message. All this will happen in a network, and you can even check your WhatsApp also, where there will be some note about an end-to-end encryption, in a WhatsApp chat message also. Have a look into your any chat box. So all these encryption techniques are followed in order to provide security for a message passing system. And the next feature is portability. So there are two different aspects of portability in a message passing system. That is, it should itself to be portable. Means, whenever we want to construct any new IPC facility, say for example, rather than RPC or any distributed shared memory, other than that, whenever we want to construct a new IPC facility on any other system, we should reuse the basic design of the existing message passing system. Means, we should directly, it should be in such a manner that it should be easily portable what we have at present to the new, by adding some new extra facility to a new IPC mechanism. So it should be such a portability should be there. Whenever we want to develop a new model, we should not develop it from scratch. We can have that portability or flexibility to involve whatever we have at present into the new system model. There we can add the features which are required to required as additional features. So it should be portable, and the applications written by using the primitives of IPC protocols of message passing system should also be protocol. All these should be portable. Why? Because whenever we are designing any new construct in a new IPC facility, all these data representation format, external data representation format, and the communication taking place between two or more processes running on different computers with different architectures, all these should be handled in this feature. So the design of high level primitives of IPC protocols of message passing system should be done so as to hide the heterogeneous nature of the network. It will hide, and whenever we want that portability feature, it should be applicable to the message passing system. And in this class we have discussed about what is the need of message passing system and what are its desirable features. Hope you are all have understood this topic, and thank you.